Comics are finally back on the shelves, and I got your picks of the week. So stay tuned, and let's do this. All right, I know I'm a couple days late with getting this review out. Comics came out on Wednesday. It is now Friday, but I did have conversations with my comic book shop, and they're going to start allowing me to get my comic books on Tuesday night. So hopefully that will give me some time to read them and have reviews up by Wednesday for you guys. And before we get into the reviews, I want to ask, as usual, you guys hit that subscribe button down below, click that notification bell so you can get updates whenever we post new videos. I'm also going to be giving away these two awesome Spidey related comics. First one being Absolute Carnage Numero Uno, the Hulk variant cover, as well as Miles Morales' Spider-Man number 13, which is the first appearance of Billy Morales, Miles Morales' baby sister. Let's get to the reviews. First up for our indie titles, we have Adventureman number 1. This is published by Image Comics. It is written by Matt Fraction, and the art is done by Terry Dodson and Rachel Dodson. This is a huge first issue. It is literally 65 pages long, but it still has a cover price of $3.99. You'll see here. I could definitely get behind that shit. So this first issue has some big characters set up. We get introduced to Adventureman, who has a team, and I think this takes place like in the 1950s, but he has a team of superheroes, and we get all of their backgrounds as well. And we're brought into this whole battle with a villain, and then all of a sudden, the story stops, and a woman by the name of Claire is reading this story to her son. The son's really pissed off because the story ends on this huge cliffhanger of nothing really being resolved. So at the end of issue number 1, we get the hint that this Claire character is going to pick back up the Adventureman story and this battle that Adventureman was having with this evil villain. I'm liking the series so far, though. I will be getting issue number 2. Matt Fraction writes some awesome stuff. He's an Eisner Award-winning author, so I'm pretty excited to see where this one goes. I will warn you guys, though, it is very long. Like I said, 65 pages. So if you're not ready to sit down and get all this character background and really dive in, I would shy away from this one right now. Next, we have Ice Cream Man number 19. This is published by Image Comics. It's written by Maxwell Prince, and the art is done by Martin Morazzo. Gonna be honest with you guys, I haven't started reading Ice Cream Man yet. It's just one of those series that I've always been interested in, but haven't had the time yet to really sit down and read through it. I started late when I wanted to start picking up these issues, so I just figured I'll just go ahead and pick up the trade paperbacks as they come out. From my understanding, Ice Cream Man is a one-shot, so every single issue, it's different. There's different characters, but they're all relatable in the sense that they all are just centered around disturbing stories. And the reason for me picking up this book this week is honestly because I read the Previews World description, and it just looked and sounded pretty unique. I mean, the cover it's basically telling you how to be a spooky ghost. I just was like, what the hell is this? I'll pick it up. Next up for indie titles, we have Decorum number 2. This is published by Image Comics. It is written by Jonathan Hickman, and the art is done by Mike Huddleston. There is so much going on in this series, and it's only been 2 issues, so please, I am lost. If you know what is happening and you're caught up, leave me a comment down below and tell me, because I have no freaking clue. The one thing I kind of think I maybe understand is that every few pages there's like a different color that is used. Some vibrant colors, other pages are like this, I guess I'll call it black and white, but it's like a bluish hue. That just leads me to believe that the reason for it being disjointed is because these different colors are telling me maybe a different timeline as to when things are happening in the book. Don't get me wrong, Jonathan Hickman has written some of my favorite comics in recent memory. Powers of X, Black Monday Murders, East of West. He just always is just using maps and just confusing the shit out of me. Like, dude, I get it. You like maps. Fun fact. Did you know that Jonathan Hickman loves incorporating maps into his stories? Sometimes I can just only take so much confusing universe building and elaborate maps before I just want to lose my mind. Okay? Maps. I'm really not sure if I'm going to keep reading this. Probably not. Last up for indie titles, Rick and Morty Go to Hell. This is published by Ani Comics. It's written by Ryan Ferrier, and art is done by Constanza Arosa. So a few months ago, if you follow us on Instagram, you would have seen the post I made right as all this quarantine madness was happening, being sad because the Rick and Morty long-standing comic series it came to an end after 60 issues or whatever it was. But now I guess we're getting some new mini-series like this one right here. Rick and Morty Go to Hell, as you may have assumed already, is a story about Rick and Morty ending up in hell for reasons we do not know yet. Rick is very convinced that it is in fact not hell. It is either like a dimension or another universe that they're in that just looks like hell. But Morty is fully convinced that this is actual hell that they're in. I did have a problem with this issue though. I love the original Rick and Morty comic series and love the TV show, of course. However, when you do a comic book series based off of an extremely popular adult cartoon such as Rick and Morty, you have to make sure that what you're writing what's in the dialogue is sounding like what would have happened in the actual TV show. You want to be reading each panel and imagining that it is the actual voice actor saying that line in the character's voice. This is where I think Rick and Morty Go to Hell missed the mark. Rick especially didn't really, the writing didn't really seem like something Rick would have said, and that was just a huge problem for me. Overall, I do think I'm being a little harsh on it, especially with Rick and Morty. I want to be able to read what Rick Sanchez is saying, you know what, Morty? And really feel like that would have been something he would have said in the show. It just at sometimes didn't really feel like that in this miniseries so far. But if this is all we're gonna get right now is these miniseries like Go to Hell, I'm fine with it. Quick trivia for you: Rick and Morty have done a crossover in the comics with which of the following gaming franchises? Is it A, Halo, B, Risk, C, Gears of War, or D, Dungeons and Dragons? If you answer D, D&D, you are correct. By the way, what do you guys think of the mustache? I want to hear from you. So if you love it, hit the thumbs up on the video. If you hate it, and it just makes you furious, hit the thumbs up on the video. Thanks, guys. First up for DC is Batman: The Adventures Continue. This is written by Paul Dini and Alan Burnett, who were both of the producers for the Batman the Animated Series television show. And art is done by none other than Ty Templeton, who has been doing the Batman Adventures comics since 1992. I was super pumped when I heard that this was going to be hitting shelves and this series was going to be, in some sense, returning. I loved reading the Batman Adventure comics growing up. And if you're unfamiliar, most of you probably know about the Batman the Animated Series, the television show. Batman Adventures was basically just the television show in comic form. They called it Batman Adventures. So I loved reading those growing up. Batman the Animated Series always had a very strong influence and was one of the main reasons why I became overly obsessed with Batman. So Batman the Adventures Continue is a 6-part miniseries return of Batman Adventures, which ended back in 2004. I especially love what they did with cover A for this first issue. It has the iconic Batman the Animated Series red sky there. Batman is on a rooftop looking over Gotham. And if you look closer at the building itself, you'll see a shadowy drawing of some of Batman's rogues. I had a great time reading this first issue. It gives you that nostalgic feeling that you had when you read Batman Adventures. If you're a Batman fan, especially an animated series fan, please do yourself a favor and go find this first issue if you haven't picked it up already. You're going to want to continue to grab this every week it comes out. Fun fact: did you know that the Penguin character design in Batman the Animated Series was heavily inspired by Danny DeVito's portrayal of Penguin in Batman Returns? However, since the movie was not yet released in theaters, Bruce Timm, one of the co-creators of Batman the Animated Series, actually went on set of Batman Returns and saw Danny DeVito in character and sketched it right there on the spot. All right, next up from DC Comics is Batman number 92. This is written by James Tynion IV, and art is done by Guillaume March. Dude, Art Germ murdered it with this cover right here. With that said, this is my cover of the week. And not only is this just a sick cover, it also happens to be the first cover appearance of the highly popular new sidekick to the Joker, Punchline. James Tynion is doing a killer job with the series right now, with this Batman series. I thought it was going to slow down. It has not, people. It is freaking amazing. Go pick up this book if you haven't already. And there are so many things about this issue which make it worth getting. As I mentioned, this is the first time that Punchline is on a cover. I think she was on all 3 covers, so this is not the only one she's on, but this was my favorite cover that she was on by Archer. So I got this. There's a new character called the Underbroker that shows up. I'm not going to spoil it or give you any more detail than that. And finally, we get our first face-to-face showdown with Harley Quinn and Punchline. Come on. Make sure you get your hands on this issue if you can. Quick trivia. Harley Quinn has gone on a date with which of the following? A. Killer Croc, B. Batman, C. Superman, or D. the Riddler? If you guessed B. Batman, you freaking got it, man. In one of the Harley Quinn Valentine's Day specials called Just Batty Over You, Harley Quinn has this big crush on Bruce Wayne, not knowing his true identity as Batman. She goes to one of his galas or whatever, and there's a charity auction. She bids on Bruce Wayne and actually wins the auction to go on a date with him. And they go on a date. She fends off some villains and henchmen or whoever comes at him. They actually share a kiss at the end. It's quite nice. Last up, we have The Joker, 80th anniversary. So I got to pick this one up. There are 10 stories here. I picked up the Francisco Mattina cover. Grab cover Bs for the Batman series right now. Matina's been doing all those covers, and they're unbelievable. So we have 10 different stories, and they're all being written, and the arts and the colors and the letters are all done by different people, which is very cool. So they did this with a Robin 80th anniversary. They just did one with Catwoman. This has been my favorite one so far. It is great that they'll include Joker's most iconic covers. I actually have Batman number 251. That's probably my most prized comic that I own by Neil Adams. But overall, all of these stories are just really well told, but they also do a lot of callbacks to the movies and every type of source material that the Joker has been in. Given you have to appreciate the Joker as a villain, I know there's people out there who actually think he's just a really overrated Batman villain. That's not me. I love the Joker. And what I also loved about this cover is has the laughing fish on there. Fun fact. Did you actually know that the first appearance of the laughing fish was in Detective Comics 475 in 1978? So yeah, what they're doing is they have 8 different amazing artists. Gabriel Dell'Otto, Libremio, Jock, Bill Sienkiewicz, I always butcher that, but sorry, man. Jim Lee, Francisco Mattina, David Finch. So they start in the 1940s, and every decade they'll do a 1940s cover, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, and 2010. So there's covers paying homage to the Joker in every single decade. Very cool. However, if Francisco Mattina would have listened to my fun fact, he would have known that the Laughing Fish's first appearance was in 1978, not in the 60s, and he did the 60s cover. I forgive you, though. You're doing some awesome work. All right, you guys, well, I just hit you with my comic book picks of the week. What did you think? What did I not pick up? If you're unfamiliar with my videos, I don't have the amount of funds to purchase every single book on the shelf, so that's not what these reviews will be. What I'm doing is I'm picking the comics that I either think will have the most value speculation-wise, because I do like to make some money, even though I probably won't sell comics. I do like to see the value of my comics go up year after year. So I look at that, I look at covers that I just think are amazing. I also pick up comics that I just really enjoy the story and I think are being written very well, and there's some great things being done with them. So that is what my comic book reviews are about. I'm not going to be picking up again each book every single week and doing long reviews for them. I'm picking up the ones that I think were the best ones to come out that week. And what I'll also mention is there also are going to be ones that I didn't get my hands on. There might be some covers, some 1 in 25s, some variants that I just weren't able to get that I'll mention here as well. But for the most part, I thought it was a pretty good week in comics. I had a great time picking up all these titles and reading them. Make sure you enter the giveaway. Giving away Absolute Carnage #1, this awesome Hulk variant cover, and Miles Morales Spider-Man #17, the first appearance of Billy Morales, Miles Morales' little sister. Make sure you enter for this giveaway. All you got to do to enter is comment down below your favorite Spider-Man villain, and make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Hit that notification bell too while you're at it. All right, guys, well, that was it. This was my comic book picks of the week. Make sure you tune in next week. I will see you then. Jumps out.